Hello there, Sully here, the retired tanker yanker. Welcome to Transitions. This is my 2019 year in review video. Now, this was the first year I started putting videos on YouTube. And to be quite frank with you, I did not achieve the growth that I hoped I would. My expectations were a little bit higher, but I also have to take into account that people are fickle. That just because I like something, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to like something. But, by the same token, just because you like something, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to like it. But anyway, I've been trying to present, by making these videos, just what exactly I've been doing since I pretty much gave up the road. Now, I started making these videos, I guess, back in maybe March or April. And I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but my expectations were simply that I was going to present a channel which was my life after trucking. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube, and there's quite a few trucking videos out there, but what there aren't is retired trucker videos. Now, or maybe there are, I don't know, but these people have money to burn or have a way to travel around and do all kinds of interesting things. I don't have that. I was kind of hoping that I could build this channel up to where it becomes a money-making proposition for me. And maybe I can start doing that kind of stuff. It hasn't quite worked out that way just yet. So as of this morning, as you can see by this, I have 119 subscribers. I was actually hoping to have about 200 subscribers by the end of the year, and I seem to have fallen short of that. But I guess there's been a few things that seem to keep that from happening. The first couple songs that I did, as you can see, I did a song that I wrote called Mini Cooper Blues, and then I did a traditional song called The Minstrel Boy, which I've done again since then. And then the song that seems to be getting the most views was the song The Day of the Rope. And I've redone that a couple times, including in the video where I tested the Fishman mini charge. And I also did a video about the Molly Maguires where I performed this song. Now, as you can see, some of my early videos, I basically was doing it with my phone and really wasn't too sophisticated when it came to the editing. Sometimes I just would upload the video directly from my phone. I did eventually get some editing software and start doing it on my computer, but my old computer was really, really, really slow, and it was just a pain in the ass to do it. I guess it was sometime during the summer that I started playing around with doing thumbnails and getting some graphic things and working a little bit more at the production of these videos. And I also did my sub for sub rant. I don't mind telling you, I probably had a few in me when I did that. So, but doesn't mean I don't feel the way I felt about it. People who would subscribe to your channel to get you to subscribe to theirs, and then they would drop you. I mean that's probably why sub for sub is forbidden by YouTube, because you just get people doing that. Now, as I got better at editing and got a little better at making these thumbnails, I decided I'd have a little bit more fun with them. And it gives me a chance to express myself. I'm really trying hard. I do have like photo editing software too, so I can trim out photos. As you see, I did my guitars here, and I did Foghorn Leghorn here, and that's a picture that my brother-in-law took. That's me playing my old Martin J40. Anyway, I try to be a little bit more artistic when I do these things. And, the idea of a thumbnail is to get people's attention. it is what it is, I guess. I don't know how many channels I'm exactly subscribed to, but as you can see, among my channels, I do have Long Haul Larry on there and JBG Travels and their coworker, Bossman Trucker. I'm also subscribed to Joe Robinette, as you can see there. And for some reason, I'm fascinated by Dr. Pimple Popper. I don't know what it is about, watching blackheads get squeezed out, but I guess it's sort of escapist, or I don't know what you want to call it. And of course, I'm subscribed to Martin Guitar's channel. But also, as you see there, I have Nick Zametti on there. He's a British fellow that does wood turning videos. Out of the Woods, he's a fellow who runs a sawmill and mills up logs. Diecast Resurrection. I do love watching those guys restore Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars. And of course, there's my buddies Ralph and Daniel McCarthy. Zach Campbell, I'm subscribed to. A guy who makes his living going to baseball games trying to get balls. You got Ron White and Bill Engvall on there too. Somewhere you'll find me subscribed to Jeff Foxworthy on there. Scoop News. Yeah, I like to keep up and keep in touch with things going on in Schuylkill County. And they have their own channel. I was subscribed to that. I was really surprised to find that Scoop News had a channel on here. So that's pretty much what I like to watch. I mean, this is not all of them by a long stretch, but I do have very varied taste. And I hope you people who I'm subscribed to are also watching these, and you're subscribing to my. Now, I guess I had expectations that a lot of people have when they start a YouTube channel, and that is basically, I'm going to get out my phone, I'm going to make videos, I'm going to upload them to YouTube, and I'm going to make lots of money. There are more than a few people that told me that it doesn't work that way. And I've also noticed that people who have large channels, they started out kind of small, but they had help growing. And I will say that I have had some help from some sources, and then some support from some people that I've reached out to. I'd especially like to thank some of the trucking videos that are out there. Ralph from Ralph's Trucking and John from JBG Travels have both been very supportive of my efforts. What I'm really kind of dismayed at is the number of my friends who haven't subscribed to my channel. And the reason they give is, well, they asked me to start a Gmail account in order to subscribe. Well, yeah. I mean, it is Google. I don't know why people are just so resistant to starting a Gmail account, because, if worst comes to worst, use it for your garbage account. I mean, that's what I used to use Gmail for. I mean, you get these things that you have to sign up for something, and they say, well, we need to have a valid email address. Well, it doesn't cost anything to start a Gmail account. And basically, you can do it on your phone if you want. You don't have to necessarily do it on your computer. If you look at my channel description, you'll see that I do have 2 email addresses. If you want to contact me directly, the best way is to use that Comcast.net address, because that's my primary email. And I've been working hard at cleaning that one up to get rid of the spam from it. If you got something that you want, a question you need answered directly, or you have an idea for a video, that's the way to go. But I will respond to any and all comments I get on my videos. And, I usually get notification notes from Gmail. I find myself actually using the Gmail account more and more since I started making these videos. So, it's always a good idea to have multiple email accounts. And like I said, if you establish a Gmail account, you can use it for your garbage account, and it'll enable you to sign up for subscription to my channel. So what has happened to me this year? Well, I guess by now some of you know that I was in the hospital about 3 weeks ago. I spent about a week there. I had pneumonia. And while I was in the hospital, they seemed to be a little bit concerned about my heart.
I had cardiac catheterization, and that determined that there was no blockage. But they think that my heart is just not as strong as it should be. While I was in intensive care, they also had a heart monitor on me, and they said that they noticed something called ventricular fibrillation. Now, at the time, I had a tube shoved down my throat, and I couldn't breathe. The tube was pumping air into my lungs. I hadn't had anything to eat, but I really wasn't hungry either. I had pneumonia, and my arms were restrained so that I wouldn't pull these tubes out. But it's a pretty stressful situation, and I think that anybody's going to get their heart fluttering a little bit in such a situation, especially when you start gagging and there's nobody there, and you don't know what to do until they come in, and you can't tell them that, hey, clear this tube, and you can't make hand gestures because your hands are restrained, about all I could do was go for them to understand that I was choking, and they had to clear the tube. But yeah, put yourself in my place. I think your heart would flutter a little bit too. So, since I've been out of the hospital, I've been wearing this portable defibrillator vest, and all it's turned out to do is be a major pain in the ass to me. And every time I get up, I got to make sure I got it with me, or else it's going to fly on the floor. The only time I get to take it off is when I'm taking a shower. And what I've been doing when I take a shower is I'll just lay down for a few minutes and get some relief not having it on. But my back isn't feeling any better either, and it's kind of tough going through this, being in chronic pain and now having to put up with pneumonia. And it's really a stressful situation because, quite frankly, I got to find a way to pay for all this thing. I mean, it's my last medical incident wiped me out, pretty much wiped out any savings I had. Now I don't have those savings, and here I am. I mean, even with insurance, you don't have enough money to pay your hospital bills, and they told me in the hospital I have to apply for charity to get my bills paid for. So I'm just waiting for all the bills to come in and see where it goes from there. Starting tomorrow, the insurance that I have will basically be one of those high deductible, what they call a bronze plan, because I can't afford anything more than that. I mean, my rent is ridiculous, and it keeps going up, and I try to tell them, hey, I'm on a fixed income. And they say, well, it's in line with other places in the vicinity. It's just a situation that has to change. Sorry, I didn't mean to dump this on you people, but, it is keeping me up at night. 2019 was a pretty eventful year for the trucking industry. We saw some companies go out of business. I think I read somewhere that more than 300 trucking companies went out of business. Most notably, NEMF went out of business. Falcon Express went out of business. Celadon went out of business, and most recently GDS Freight went out of business. And a lot of drivers were left stranded. And I'm seeing that as a harbinger of things to come. I really think that we are headed for an economic downturn in 2020. I just don't see any way around it. I mean, the stock market has been rising steadily for the past decade. Even more. I mean, actually, it goes back to when the recession of 2008 started. The recovery started around 2010, so about 10 years ago. And the stock market has gone up tremendously in that time. And, what goes up must come down. So, I'm actually thinking that we are going to see an economic downturn, and more trucking companies are probably going to feel the pinch by going out of business. Now, they talk about this so-called driver shortage, but I think you're going to start seeing trucking companies lay drivers off, and I'm not talking about mom and pop companies. I'm talking about your Schneiders and your JB Hunts and your Warners. Swift, I see these companies laying drivers off. The last time this happened was during that recession of 2008, and I remember guys sitting in truck stops with no freight. They're not making any money now. At the time I was with Atkinson, we were taking the freight that nobody else wanted, and trust me, the customers were paying for it. But finally some of these big companies said, well, we're going to make our drivers go to New York City and New England. We're going to make them go there, and instead of these guys making 48 and 50 cents a mile, we're going to be paying our drivers 32 and 33 cents a mile, and they're going to be forced to take it, because if they don't do it, they're not going to have a job. That's your truck driver shortage in a nutshell. Paying you less money, telling you take it or leave it, and you should be happy you have a job because there's people waiting to take the job. They will be happy to do it for that price. And the sad thing is, I remember sitting in a truck stop and hearing a guy bragging about how he was taking home $500 a week. And I said, would you really be interested in a job where you can take home about twice that? He says, oh, no, that's a great job, $500 a week. Well, this guy probably went to truck driving school after working a minimum wage job, so. It is what it is. And that's the way they're conning people coming into the trucking industry. And they're also saying that there's people who are coming into this country from other countries, and they're willing to work for whatever they get. So there is class warfare in the trucking industry, and don't buy it, drivers. Get yourself a good paying job. And if you're really looking out there, there is a company that's hiring, and this is not an endorsement or a paid promotion by this company. I'm just going to give you a recommendation based on my experience, and that's Highway Transport Chemical. You go to work there, if you're not making $60,000 a year to start, it's because you're not trying. It's because you're sitting on your ass instead of being out working. Your first year there, you should be making close to $70,000, and after a couple of years, you'll be making $80,000 a year. It's really clean work, hauling liquid bulk. There's plenty of work out there in that industry. Highway Transport is a core carrier for Dow Chemical and BASF, and a lot of business from those companies. That's because they do a good job. And they do a good job because their drivers are the best. And I'm proud to say that I am one of those drivers, or was one of those drivers, that are the best. It's a source of pride for me. So, give them a call. The requirements are simple. You have to have a hazmat and tank endorsement, or able to get it. You have to have a TWIC card or able to get it, and they would prefer that you had a passport, because they do run Canada, and trust me, Canada runs are money makers. I used to stand in line to get those Canada runs because they paid the bucks. 2019 was a very interesting year in sports. During the off-season last year, the Phillies signed Bryce Harper. They signed JT Realmuto, they signed Gene Segura, and they signed Andrew McCutchen. Now, all four of those players will be back for the 2020 season, and in this offseason, the Phillies have acquired Didi Gregorius and Zach Wheeler. They also fired Gabe Kapler as their manager, and they brought in Joe Girardi as their manager. Girardi is known for being the manager of the Yankees in 2009 when the Yankees beat the Phillies in the World Series. So he's definitely got the resume. I'm looking forward to the Phillies having a good season this year. Of course, as I speak, the Eagles made the playoffs. They beat the Giants on Sunday, and simply by winning that game, they eliminated the Dallas Cowflops from playoff contention. The Eagles beat the Cowflops a week earlier, so it's amazing how the Eagles are doing it with so many key players. I mean, if you told me in the beginning of the season that by the time the season was over, Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, Darren Sproles, Zach Ertz, Lane Johnson would all be out. Jordan Howard would be hurt. And he told me, and they would be in the playoffs. I wouldn't have taken that bet, but here they are in the playoffs. I'm really happy with the way Carson Wentz has turned it around the past 4 weeks, coming out of that losing streak, especially losing games to teams like the Dolphins, a game they should have won. Playing the Seahawks this Sunday. It's a late game. The game is on NBC, which means we are spared the bleedings of Joe Suck and Troy Fakeman. But unfortunately, we are going to have to endure the constant whining of Chris Collingsworthless. I'm putting an over and under on the number of times that he mentions Tom Brady and Dak Prescott. My over and under number is 10, and I'm going with over. 76ers started out hot this year. I think they won something like 14 straight home games before they lost. I'm anticipating the 76ers to go deep into the playoffs. The Flyers, if they just make the playoffs this year, I'll be happy considering they missed out last year. They fired Dave Haxtell mid-season last year. This year, Alan Vigneault is their head coach, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job. Also, the emergence of Carter Hart as the #1 goaltender. That's pretty good. I just hope and pray that the Flyers win a Stanley Cup before Claude Giroux retires. I know they traded Ian LaPerriere so that he could win a cup, and I would really like to see Claude Giroux win one, but I want to see him win it with the orange and black. Now, you probably noticed that I don't talk politics on my channel. That's for a very good reason. There's nothing that divides people more than politics and religion, so I specifically avoid that. I will say that I am anticipating this impeachment of President Trump to have serious effects, regardless of how it comes out. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and make a prediction that Donald Trump will not be removed from office. There, I said it. That's as political as I'm going to get. But we do have an election coming up in November of 2020, and it's important that your voice be heard, that you vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for. What it matters is that you vote. It's easy to do. It doesn't cost you anything. Please, make your voice heard. Vote. Well, this year has just been, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about this year. It's had its ups and downs. It could have been a better year for me, but I also can see places where it could have been a much worse year for me. But I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of my 119 subscribers. I know quite a few more people subscribed and either unsubscribed or were unsubscribed by the algorithm for whatever reason. Hey, I would appreciate it if you subscribe, but I also want you to watch my content. I think most of the creators out there will tell you that most of the views that they get come from people who aren't subscribers. And I see other creators, and I'm going to particularly mention JBG Travels, because I probably watch John's videos as much as anything else, and Long Haul Larry too, his friend and colleague at ADL Transport. And I noticed that for the number of subscribers they have and the number of views they get, maybe they're getting 1 view for every 5 subscribers. Now, that seems to be what I'm getting, because I look through some of my videos. I try to share my videos on social media through Facebook and Instagram, and I do get views from there, but I don't get subscribers. And, you know, these are people that I know, people that are friends of mine, and all I'm saying is, it's not going to cost you nothing to open a Gmail account so that you can subscribe to my channel. And like I said, Gmail can be very useful if for no other reason it's your garbage email account. So think about that. But I do appreciate everybody who views my videos. I do appreciate the comments. I'm also going to give a shout out to Ralph's Trucking, because Ralph has helped me a lot. He's given me a lot of support. And hey, what can I say? 2020 can't be any worse than 2019. Well, don't say that, Jared, because it can. But let's just hope that 2020 is a good year for you and for yours and for me and mine. I especially want to take the opportunity to thank my sister Maggie for helping me out getting a new computer. I want to thank my sister Rita and her husband, my brother-in-law Dennis, for taking care of the chair for me. My chair broke and I was really between a rock and a hard place because I had nowhere to sit. So, thank you very much, Reeds, Dennis, and Mags, and I love yous all. To my friend Bob, make a New Year's resolution. Have a little bit less fascination with the male scrotum. It's not funny anymore. And to Bob's son Ryan and his lady, congratulations on getting your home. Congratulations on your job, Ryan. You do a good job. Congratulations to your daughter, Emily, and Abby. She's also doing. They seem to be doing pretty well. I'm just wishing them well for this year. Ryan is doing some good work for helping homeless people find a place to live down in Delaware, and his daughter, Emily, is working with addicts in the Allentown area. And it's good and noble work. Keep it up. Who else can I thank? Lots of thanks to all my friends out there who showed me support when I was going through a kind of a tough time with a former roommate who wound up going to prison for dealing drugs. And I really needed to get that episode of my life over with. I'm just going to go on the record as saying that I do have a PFA filed against her. Not that she can do anything about it while she's locked up, but it is what it is. And to me, that was a successful outcome. And I just hope that for the sake of her, that she takes advantage of this situation to turn her life around. But something deep inside of me knows that she won't. And I'm just glad she's out of my life. Thank you to everybody who left comments, and I would appreciate it if more and more people would comment and like my videos. If you see my video on Facebook or Instagram, I'd appreciate it if you would put that like and comment in YouTube, because that helps my channel grow. I'd like to thank Daniel McCarthy for dropping in. He's a fellow tanker yanker, and he works for Yule down there in Florida, and he's given me a lot of support and a lot of feedback. And you know, hey Dan, be safe out there. I'd also like to thank the Philadelphia Rescue Squad drivers who saw me safe to Nazareth Hospital when I came down with pneumonia, and to all the doctors and nurses and staff at Nazareth for pulling me through. You did a good job. I'm sure I missed a few people here, but I just want you all to have a safe, healthy, and happy New Year. For Transitions, this is Sully, the retired tanker yanker, wishing you a great 2020 and safe and happy travels.